If being healthy is the goal, then how are we measuring that health? Is it by our thinness? And a lot of people would say yes to that. A healthy person is someone who's at the right weight. But that's only one of the things that really matter. I was having a conversation or a text message conversation with a viewer, and they pointed out that they had watched a video where the person was talking about the poorly fed pork and chicken that most people eat is causing their bodies to react. And I want to talk more about that because I do believe that that's part of the answer, but I also want to help us to understand how do we do what's best for us at what particular stage we happen to be. Hello, Wellness Warriors. Welcome to Mind Blowing Health and Wellness with Violet. The reason I make these educational videos is to help you to understand that when your mental health and physical health are working well together, that's how we get that overall sense of well-being. If this kind of thing is helpful to you and is something that you're working on, subscribe because I make videos every week. So the basic idea was that because the pigs and the chickens were fed inappropriate diet, their metabolic situation was negative. And so then when we eat these animals, our metabolic situation is also negative. So we will then live the repercussions of poor quality meat. And although I absolutely agree with that piece of information, and on multiple occasions, I have mentioned that if you have the possibility and can afford grass-fed, grass-finished meat, it's the best thing for you to do. If you can have chickens that were raised in a scenario where they're actually eating bugs and what they're supposed to be eating, it's the best thing for you to do. However, the thing that I want everyone to think about is the order of events. It is so important for us to start with step 1 and go forward to step 2 and then to step 3, etc., etc. So I want all wellness warriors to think about this. If I'm eating cookies, chocolate, bread, does it matter if my beef or pork product is grass-fed, grass-finished? If I'm eating chocolate bars and apples and all kinds of fruit, then is eating chicken that's raised on an open range and eating what it's supposed to eat gonna save me? Priority number 1 is to get the food source, so the main source of your food, to be healthy foods, which means low glycemic vegetables, if any at all, and meat products. So protein sources that will cater to the amino acids that our body actually needs. I'm not saying that if you can afford grass-fed, grass-finished, if you can afford free-range poultry and, wild-caught fish, that you shouldn't do these things, because absolutely. But if you're going to do that alongside eating cookies, chips, bread and rice and all these high carbohydrate foods, it's kind of defeating the purpose on some level. So the order of the events really does matter. Every building block that you're eating contributes to the way your body is going to be built. And it's every building block. So even though a cookie is not an appropriate building block, it's still a building block. So imagine for a second you're building a house and you've got, you borrow your bricks and the bricklayer is out there and he's laying the bricks in your house. And then when you walk outside, what you see is that, he had a bunch of the bricks there, but there's also some rocks and other things that were kind of laying around, and he's not paying any attention. He's grabbing a brick and he's putting it and he's laying it. And then once in a while he's grabbing a rock, putting it there. And so now the house is being built because rocks are not the same shape and the same stability as a brick that's made for this purpose. But it's a rock. I mean, is the house going to fall down? No. But is it going to have the same level of stability? Are the wall thicknesses going to be the right way? Are the insulation on the inside going to react to that rock the way? So all the safety precautions that they do with breaks to make sure that the house can breathe, and yet at the same time, all of those things are going to be out of whack because he's putting rocks where there should be bricks. And if later on when you're inside the house, you see that instead of putting all the insulation, sometimes he's putting insulation, but sometimes there was a t-shirt there and he threw it in the wall. And sometimes there was, a piece of paper and he said, that's good enough because same fibers. Can it do the job? Probably. Is it the best thing for the job? No. It's important for us when we're trying to live a healthy ketogenic lifestyle that we're going in order of what makes sense. So first I get my baseline foods under control. I help myself to eat the best quality vegetables that I can and the best quality meats. Once I'm doing that, and I'm doing that very consistently, a few things are going to start to make themselves very aware to you. You're going to notice that you can tell when you've eaten appropriately and when you haven't. And what I mean by that is you can eat 25 grams of carbs and notice that you went over, or even eat 20 grams of carbs and notice that maybe that was too much today. That you can tell that, even though I got my 20 grams of carbs or less in today, that it was from this vegetable versus that, and I don't feel so great. Because the better you build your body, then the more the deviations from what is correct starts to be apparent to you. And it's the same thing with the meat. Do I disagree that eating the best quality meat you can is good? Because these animals are not being fed what they're supposed to be fed, and they're going to have bodily reactions the same way us humans are having bodily reactions. So they're much more inflamed. They're much more metabolically challenged. They're pumped full of hormones. We're eating that. Is that the best thing for us to? Of course not. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is, let's do things in a good order. Am I going to focus on eating grass-fed when I'm still eating other dangerous things? No, because getting the sugar out of my life is so much more important at that stage. At that stage. It can become important later. So in our conversation, I think the thing that I wanted to make clear, and now I'm sharing it with you guys because I thought it was interesting, is that it's not about whether or not we should eat poorly fed animals. I don't believe we should. First of all, I do believe that if these animals are going to help us to live a healthy life while they're living, we should help them to have a healthy life. So let's treat our farm animals appropriately so that they enjoy their time until they're no longer with us, but also that it makes them healthier, which translates into healthier food for us, which is something that I don't understand. I don't understand why we believe it's okay to eat a sick animal, which is kind of what we've been doing for years and years and years. That rather than feed animals the appropriate diet that they're meant to eat, we pump them full of hormones and we pump them full of antibiotics and we pump them full. And so basically, rather than treat the original reason that they're getting sick, the food we feed them, we continue to feed them cheap food and runoff food and all kinds of things that they shouldn't be eating, but they'll eat because they're starving and that's all we're giving them. And we continue to feed them this poor quality food and then give them hormones and antibiotics and all kinds of other things so that they continue to grow properly and feed us. So am I healthy because I'm thin? Not necessarily. Not if I'm thin, but eating poor quality foods. And then is it by understanding these micro details that I'm going to be healthier? So is it because I know that grass-fed, grass-finished animals are healthier to eat, that just by eating those animals, I'm going to be healthier? Not if I'm still eating high carb foods. Not if I'm still eating cookies, chips, and all these other things. No. Then eating these grass-fed animals is not going to help me. So these better quality animals is not going to help me. What will help me is doing things in the right order and understanding that it's not finding a loophole in the situation that's going to make me healthy. It's understanding what is healthy for humans and eating it the same way that we should understand what is healthy for a cow, what is healthy for a pig, what is healthy for chicken, lamb, and all the other meats that we tend to eat, fish, all those, like what's healthy for them. And it's not just the food we feed them, but it's the conditions that they live in that keep them healthy as well. It's not healthy for anyone to walk around in their own poop, but yet if we want our animals that we eat to be healthy for us, yes, feed them appropriately. And if we want to be able to benefit from that healthily fed animal, feed yourself appropriately. It's not a magic pill, eating grass-fed. That means that I could turn around and eat crappy, garbagey food. Wellness warriors, it's everything. Don't let them lay bricks and rocks together. Only lay bricks to build your house. Eating appropriately is the answer. There aren't any cheats or detours, or eating appropriately is the answer. And of course, as you accomplish one level, I do want to encourage you to level up and do better and better for the food that you are eating. I really hope this clarified that. There are some videos on the screen right here that are going to help you to improve your health. Wellness Warriors, always happy that you come back. Everybody who's new, welcome. I want to thank you for watching Mind Blowing Health and Wellness with Violet, and I really can't wait to talk to you guys again next week.